Okay, Airsoft, today we are going to be talking about batteries for AEGs. These batteries were sent to me by HobbyKing.com. You can see a link in the description. For my honest opinion and review, so first one we got here is, let's see, this is an 11.1 with a mini, what is it, Tamiya or Tamiya, whatever. I don't see a lot of Airsoft replicas with that one still. I mean, maybe there are. The newer ones that I've been using have the Dean's connection or the T-plug, same thing. But this is pretty easy to convert over. In fact, I have a conversion kit. Maybe we'll do that. You cut it and it has shrink tape and stuff. So, but regardless, the battery here, this is a TURNIGY and nanotech. Now the thing about this one in particular is that it's a 40C max discharge. It says 20 to 40, but most of the batteries, it's really confusing sometimes because they list stuff on their description that might be a little misleading. Like sometimes the amount that it has, like this is 1 or 1,000 milliamps, I believe. It will list something big, but it really doesn't contain that much, and we're going to test that. Oh yeah, here you go, 1,000 milliamp hours. And also the C. So the higher the C, the better really, because it will give you that burst of amps, of discharge. And so this, if you look at the fine print, it has guaranteed 20, but the peak of 40 when it's really in demand. And a lot of the other ones that say they're at a 30, that's really listing their peak. And so their guaranteed one is usually much lower than that. This one's right out in the open telling you 20 to 40 C. And that's the 11.1 battery. And then this one, oh, see, this one has the Dean's connector. That's what most of the newer Airsoft guns I've seen use. Same type of battery, the TURNIGY. This is a 1.2 amp hour, and same thing, high discharge. This one's 25 to 50 C. So that is really good. But this is a 7.4. Now, I have seen that a lot of even the newer AEGs are still 7.4. You only get into the 11.1s usually when they have a MOSFET, or if you add a MOSFET on there. Some of them are wired for it without a MOSFET, and the 11.1s tend to allow for that higher rate of fire when you're doing a DSG or something like that. But there's a lot of them that do perfectly well with the 7.4 because that's what they're built for. And we're going to track with the charger here how much they take in. I can see how much they discharge, but it's pretty easy. You just find which connector is which. So this one's going to be using the Dean's. So do this one first. You plug it in, and then you use the other plug here. It's got the 3 connectors, so that means it goes in this one right here. That's the 2 cells in the battery. Just line it up. There we go. Okay, we are done with this first battery. As you can see, it took about 16 minutes. Pretty great, pretty normal. The charge at the end, both are at 4.15 volts. And that's excellent, because when it reads the same like that, that's a sign of good quality inside. If there was a difference between the 2 cells of 0.01 to 0.03 volts, that's, you know, pretty good, pretty excellent. If it was more than 0.05 volts, that's kind of a meh, you know, questionable battery. And if there's a difference of 0.1 volts, it's a bad battery pack, okay? So right now, you can see on this one, it's reading perfectly equal. All right, well, I'm getting some of these other batteries ready. I wanted to show you. So this is an example of a really poor quality battery. This is an 11.1 LiPo. The first thing that you're going to notice is the size of these wires here. If you look at the ones from HobbyKing, they are 16 gauge, and see the thickness difference there? That is going to, first of all, not be quite as durable, but most importantly, it's not going to be able to transfer as much energy through those lines, through the conductors. Now, here's a mid-level one. This is a Lancer Tactical LiPo, 11.1 volt. So, and this is also the 11.1 volt version of the TURNIGY battery. This has 1,000, this has 1,000. This is a 20C continuous. And this is supposedly also a 20C with the 40C max discharge there, where the Lancer doesn't list anything more than the 20, so we don't really know, unless we looked at some spec sheet, how high it might be able to go. So these should be pretty comparable. So once these are fully charged up, we're going to discharge them to see how many amps come out of them and compare them to each other. And then we'll put them inside of a replica and see if we can tell any difference between trigger response or anything like that. Okay, now we're back to the Lancer. We're going to discharge it, see how much energy will come off of it and how much it heats up. Starting off around 77.8. I'm going to change this to discharge. You want to do 3 volts per cell, and this is 3 cells, so 3, 6, 9. So 9 volts is perfect. We're going to discharge. Right now that's at 2 amps. That might be a little much. Hold on. There we go. We're going to discharge at 1 amp. 77, 78. It's already starting to go. Okay. All right, we'll wait for the results. We just finished on the Lancer tactical battery. It ended at 53 minutes 29 seconds and discharged only 787 milliamp hours. So that is 78.7% of its rated capacity. So that's kind of a intermediate rating there. All right, let's get on to the next one. All right, so as you can see, it's still going, and it's been going longer. It's already 61 minutes, and we've discharged 894 milliamp hours there. And I'm telling you, check this out. It's still at 3.5 average, a little over 3.5 volts per cell. So this one is definitely doing better than the Lancer. Just as a reminder, this isn't necessarily the best thing to do to your batteries, to discharge them so much. The discharge function is meant to kind of get them ready for storage if you're going to store them for a long time at like 30% or something. So that's why I'm doing it to these ones. These ones were sent to me for free. Like I said, I get to keep them, I get to destroy them, whatever I want with them. I'm not being paid for the review. It's just they did send them for free, so I don't mind tearing them up like this and discharging them so we can get this data. I do have an affiliate link though, and that will help out the channel if you click on that. I'd appreciate that if you decide you want some of these batteries, because so far so good. The final test I'm going to do is seeing how it affects the rate of fire. So we're going to test this one, we're going to test the Lancer, and we're also going to test this, what is it, BlueMax battery, which is more of a premium battery that you can get from, I think, Novritsch website. And it's supposed to have a 60C burst and a 30C average, or its normal rate. So this one's a 1450. I'll put up the prices for all of these, but already, I don't remember the price for this one, but already the Lancer, which so far is performing worse in terms of battery capacity, this one at the time of this video is $28 on Amazon. And this one on the HobbyKing's website is $10.50. Okay, so yeah. Okay, check it out. We got to 936 milliamp hours, okay? So that is really close to the 1,000 advertised, especially since it's not all the way empty. It's still at 3 volts. In fact, this center one is 3.41 volts still. Now it kind of averages them together, but that went a lot longer, at least 100 amp hour or milliamp hours longer than the Lancer Tactical, which cost almost 3 times as much. So even if they end up performing the same, this is a much better deal in terms of finances. Now we'll check out performance. Okay, I went ahead and did the discharge test for the BlueMax. That's supposed to be 1450 milliamp hours, and you can see it took 76.5 minutes basically, and discharged 1,119, and that took it down to about 3 volts per cell. So that not as good as I thought it was going to be, but you know, the 1,000 one did just over 900, and this one was supposed to be 1450, and it was 1,119. So I'll put those percentages up there So this is probably in the intermediate. I'm just really so surprised about the HobbyKing one being so close to its actual listing. So take that for what it is again. Okay, so right now we've got the Lancer Tactical LiPo in there, fully charged, and we're going to see what kind of rate of fire it has with the 11.1 and see if that is any different with the other battery. 0.25. So it is shooting 0.8 joules, 0.8, so 275.8 feet per second, 274.8, 276.8. So it's all around 0.88 joules or 0.89 joules. 275.2. Okay. Let's see how many rounds per second this does. 29.8. Let's reset this. 29.7. 29.6. 29.7. 29.7. Okay. That's with the Lancer Tactical. All right, next up, the BlueMax. This one's a 30C. It's supposed to have a 60C burst. All of this testing is being done with 0.25 BBs. .87, 0.89, 0.89, 0.88. Let's see rounds per second. 30.2 with that battery. 30.1. 30.2. And it's empty. So definitely got more rounds per second with that battery, but that is a premium battery. We've got the new battery in from HobbyKing. Okay. 275, 0.88 joules, 0.88 joules, 0.88 joules. Oh, that's 0.86, 0.88. All right, now let's see how many rounds per second it can do. 31.4, 31.3, empty. All right, I mean, that's doing at least as well as the one from Novrich. And maybe even a little better. Not significantly, just doing one more round per second if that's completely valid. But you saw. So, way better than the Lancer, about the same as the BlueMax. Just wanted to test again with the BlueMax battery and by holding it to full auto for longer. And I'm still only getting 30.4. And I just emptied a whole mag. So you can tell 71 shots right there. And 30.4 is as high as it goes. It never got to 31. So technically the BlueMax, you can see right here, I got the BlueMax that's supposed to go up to a 60C burst, did not quite get to 31 rounds per second. Now that's not a huge difference, but it's still valid data. So these TURNIGY ones, or TURNIGY, from HobbyKing, they are definitely performing as well as the BlueMax and a little better actually for a better price as well. So this is all data off of a sample of one or two, so take that as you may, but for the price difference I can easily say this is a good buy. The other good thing is they have a warehouse here in the States, so you don't have to pay tariffs on the shipping. It comes from the States instead of from overseas. So that's a big plus because tariffs right now are a little ridiculous with the shipping. All right, here are the results from our battery testing. Number one, the TURNIGY battery from HobbyKing. This one had the closest to its advertised milliamp hours. It also produced the fastest rate of fire with the 0.25 gram BBs in the SSR9 from Novritsch, and that's a DSG version. This is $10.50, okay? $10.90 when it comes to the Dean's connector. Then we've got the BlueMax. This came from Novritsch site. They sell it, the 1450 milliamp hour battery, and they also sell one that's about 1,000 like this. It's 1,100 actually. That cost $22. The 1450 cost $27, I believe, okay? And this one was supposed to have a higher burst, a burst rate of 60C, and this one is 40C, but it still performed better in releasing those amps in order to push the BBs out faster with the 11.1 voltage. They're both 11.1. And then the worst was the Lancer Tactical, which is 1,000 milliamp hours, 20C, but cost $27 on Amazon right now at the time I'm filming this video, okay? So I think the answer is pretty obvious. If you find a deal on the BlueMax, they seem like a good battery, but comparing these two right here, which are both 1,000 milliamp hours, this one had over 100 milliamp hours more storage inside than this one, even though they're both advertised at 1,000 milliamp hours. Clear winner here, and I'm not just saying that. If this one failed completely, I would recommend not buying it, but in this video, because of the results we had, this is definitely one that I would be buying from now on from the website, once again, HobbyKing. And look at my affiliate link. That does help the channel. Out of all the batteries that I've tested so far, this is the king, and they do have different options. Like I said, they've got the 7.4 volt batteries, and they have the different sizes with like the nunchucks on both sides, and the shorter ones and the round ones. So just check out their website, and if they can get me a discount code, I will put it right up here as well and in the description. Until then, we'll see y'all on the next one. Later.